All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Oshi no Ko, Season 2, Episode 2. Okay, revise the whole thing.
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
Just like a script and lay it out.
I can't wait to see what exactly they showcase, like the way that they explore, this is what's different, you know?
Right.
Because that's...
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
And also, what kind of pushback the director and scriptwriter are going to give to the mangaka of like,
Sure.
Hey, we can't throw everything out.
Or
so
like,
you need to give us more actionable goals to be like, what is the thing you want to emphasize more or emphasize less?
If we do this, we cannot do this again. So,
we need to get this right now.
Yeah, what exactly do we need to have be the...
I would also love to see the business stuff as to what's actually in the contract, because the mangaka might be actually overstepping their bounds. And it might be something where they have to get into the technicality of, hey, you already sold this off to us.
I get the feeling though, given how that like was a drop for the you know, the cliffhanger, that's not the case.
No.
And that's the terror of
I know,
it,
but
right?
that's the part where I would love to see them get into it, because I'll bet you there's some specific things that we'll learn about that make it so that the mangaka has pull, but so does the director. You know?
Right, exactly. It's the, okay, let's figure out what we can actually like do here, because, you know.
Imagine though an entire like set or actor or actress just gets cut and it's like, you're fired. Sorry, not you're fired, but we don't need you. So
go home.
I
could absolutely see that being the case.
And that could end up causing some troubles
Imagine
as well,
if that
because
was
they
a
have
Kane.
contracts.
Imagine if that was a Kane though, and it's just
No, definitely not, because she's the original character.
But if she's already kind of being relegated to like this, like that could be in the discussion, even if it doesn't end up happening, you know? Because like we're just using you in a utilitarian perspective. We actually
then
don't
she
need you
basically
now.
just narrates a thing at the beginning, and then that's it.
Oh my god, that would be brutal. Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah. This will be really fun.
Or maybe it'd be fun is that Aqua is characters might get cut, and then he has to fight because he has to care now. Because he has to be in the production so he can get close.
Because otherwise, you know, you won't actually. Yeah. This could be fun.
Maybe they even do like some kind of anime tournament thing where it's like, all right, we need to figure out which of you characters actually deserves to be in.
Right. Whatever you figure out, you need to figure it out quickly.
Yeah.
Because you know, 5 days into a 30-day rehearsal schedule. So
y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Oh.
I love that this OP has a completely different vibe to the first one. Like, not even, you know, attempting to, like, evoke the same feelings or anything. It's just, nope.
Yeah.
We've got our own thing we're doing here. The hiding of the mouth. Oh my god. That is fantastic. It's just like, yeah, all that time that we just spent, wasted, useless.
And we're also going back in time a little bit too. Hey, hi. Busted. Yeah. Yeah, let my work speak for itself. Don't judge me on the past. You're all about that, right, Kana? Huh? They're like, you guys must be new. Yeah, that's my full name. Yeah. Ah.
Okay.
The rivalry continues. Oh.
Oh my god.
Oh, what's my character? Ah.
またお仕事で会えるのが嬉しくて
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, just so you know.
Right.
Ah.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah. That's not cool. For 2 centuries! Call them out! Call them out!
Oh, he didn't even realize how bad he was.
Yeah. Good. Yep. Move on. It's the past. Can't change it.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome. Spread your wings.
Yeah. Ah. I don't like the scripts. Yeah.
It's just having the confidence.
Yeah. Right.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, we are bringing this up.
All
Good,
right.
good.
Dual wielding. Just carries 2 toothbrushes.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Also, she, yes. I misgendered her. Whoops. Yeah.
Oh. Already got approval? Ah. Gotcha.
Taking
Okay, all right, scriptwriter. All right, take point. Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
We're
so
already
just
coming in
saying,
with a lot
like,
of work
throw
being
out the
done.
whole thing.
Oh, shit. Yeah, my babies. Yep, there it is. There it is. Shit.
Okay, all right. Yeah, let's... Okay.
Fun. So in some ways now the mangaka is kind of the antagonist.
Right.
Oh. It's not moving.
Ah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it's nothing like what the person actually said. Right, because oftentimes that's probably just what's needed because they're dealing with someone who's not familiar with the medium. And because they're not doing a good job at, like...
Oh, she has all the power in that regard. Jeez.
Shit.
About to be hung.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Yep.
they do.
Yep. Yeah, it's insanity.
There it is. Yep. Mm-hmm.
もう表にスタッフは発表しちゃってるし、ポスターもパンフもすり直しでコストがな。
And also, if the mangaka totally flops because they don't know how to write a play script,
クレジットはままで構いません。今度飯をおごってくださいよ。
You owe me, yeah.
申し訳ない。何でも好きなだけ食ってくれ。
Shit.
okay. Wow.
原作は本誌で1話から読んでいる。
He's been following the whole thing.
Wow.
Actually a super fan. Just like that.
創作者としてのセンスが。
というわけで、一旦脚本が白紙に戻った。原作サイドとの交渉の後、新しい脚本が上がり次第。
Ugh.
今回の舞台ステージアラウンドだし、稽古期間多く取りたい。
Mm-hmm.
そういや、そのステージアラウンドって何？
知らないで稽古してたの？アクア君、舞台そんなにないでしょ。
Nope.
気づかれたか。
そら気づきました。
場面転換のたびにセット入れ替えてテンポ悪いし、可動式のセットは安。
Well, behold the fancy rich set that you're about to see.
ステアラで舞台見たことないんだ。
Huh.
Let's go on a date and see one.
Yep.
せっかく時間できたんだから。
Yep.
ちょっとデートしよう。
Perfect.
Okay, cool.
And now we're gonna get to see it too.
教えてあげる。
Damn. That episode felt quick.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
This episode
That was awesome.
Was so gripping.
Yeah,
And
it did not-
intense
it
and-
felt so
and
short.
frustrating.
Oh
too.
yeah. And the thing is,
Oh my
I love that
gosh.
they fully went at the conflict from both angles. From the no, the mangaka has been trying to get them to make revisions that the company doesn't want to do in various different ways. Oh, hey, but then also because of the game of telephone and everything,
Things get
the
lost in
actual-
translation.
Almost everything is getting lost in translation, right? You know, to the point where the final thing that's there is basically just make it a bit better, you know, right? Like,
Yeah.
effectively. And so it's like, okay, I'll try and do that, you know, but it's not, as far as actual details and concrete stuff, there's nothing. And so, you know, theoretically, ideally, I'm sure this would cause all kinds of production issues. It's like, oh, if only the scriptwriter and the mangaka could have interacted directly from the beginning. And yet that's probably why, you know, there was that saying of the, you know, even probably right now, there is an original creator and a scriptwriter fighting, you
Just
know,
yelling at each other.
Right, exactly.
I
Like,
love also the idea that the bigger issue wasn't that it just needs to be understood as a stage play adaptation versus this. It was the character stuff being like shown as the problem,
right.
you know, from the mangaka's perspective. So then I'm fully in the mangaka's camp in that it's hey, you need to portray these characters more accurately to the way the characters
I'm
are
fine with
portrayed there.
plot stuff being changed, which totally makes sense.
Totally makes sense.
But yeah, if you were going to have an original creator that is like, no, I'll take the you know, breach of contract claims, whatever, you know, this will not happen. Yeah, it would be for the characters, right? Where it's
It would have
what
to
the
be
fuck
that.
are you doing to them? You know,
because they probably wouldn't care about the minor details of the plot.
right? Because they would understand that they are familiar enough with the creation of a story that they understand that if you're doing this, one as a stage play, but two, you know, as like a bite-sized, not full, complete adaptation. Of course, there will need to be a bunch of plot changes. You know.
But the idea that, it's actually also the way in which the mangaka communicates these frustrations. Meaning that there are people that are actively toning down the frustrations of the mangaka so that the scriptwriter doesn't even see their problems as necessarily like real problems.
Right. And let's be real, part of that absolutely makes sense because it's the scriptwriter is working his ass off. We don't need to complicate things with the, oh my God, what is this shit? You know?
Well, right. But the, oh my God, what is this shit was not what I was talking about.
Gotcha.
What way in which this character is being portrayed makes sense with the story as a whole. So then the issue is that the people like in the middle end up putting extra like
Oh yeah.
effort into de-emphasizing the severity of the issue.
On top of the fact that the people that are playing the telephone don't actually know how to make stories.
Right.
They are part of the production process,
right.
but they do not actually know. So
some of them do. Some of them do.
Some of them do. But
right.
The rights manager and things like that, no, he got no goddamn clue. And so when when the person is maybe talking about specifics, if you change the specifics of what they say, nothing of value necessarily is being communicated,
right?
Or at least not the things that were being attempted to be
right.
communicated.
Which is why the idea of a game of telephone is kind of dumb to begin with.
Oh, absolutely.
At least now this is from my perspective as someone outside the production process. But generally, when teams get together for meetings in this regard, you put all of them in the same meeting,
right?
And you give all of them time to speak, and you have one person lead the meeting to basically facilitate the moderation of.
Yeah.
Okay, this is how we're going to focus on the goal and keep everything on goal so that we move along and keep everyone's time to be valued here.
Get the mangaka in the writer's room, at least for like the first meeting where they're like,
Well, that was the part I actually really liked that they didn't do. In the beginning, they made the mention that the mangaka doesn't get brought in until they've revised the draft a couple times.
Right.
Because you need to have something that actually looks like a finished story, right?
Yep.
So once that meeting starts, then yes, get them in the writer's room. Like, rather than just showing them a thing and being like, now give us your feedback and we'll telephone it back.
I wasn't necessarily meaning from the standpoint of like showing them any material, but on the outset of we are beginning this voyage, right?
Sure.
Bring them into it. So it's these are all the things that we are considering with regards to the fact that this is a stage play.
Right.
These are the general things that we're thinking are going to need to be adjusted.
I just don't think that's the writer's room. That's basically the hey, we want to make a story about this arc of your manga. That's that stuff. We're not getting into writing anything yet. We're just setting up a goal basically. And I feel like that was kind of already happened. Like that
I don't know. I feel like
they made a point that there's a part where they basically entreat the mangaka to, hey, come in.
Yeah, we want
to do this thing here, and then they basically say, okay, that's good, and then they say, okay, give us this amount of time. We're gonna go make basically a draft that's going to look like an actual play, and then we'll present that to you.
Well, right, but
and they need to be given the space to make it so that it starts as an outline before it becomes an actual thing with dialogue.
And that's where I think I don't know the ins and outs.
The outlining part.
Exactly,
I see.
Because otherwise, and I don't know the ins and outs of the production, so maybe there's some reason why this doesn't work. But otherwise, you're basically saying we're going to spend all of this time getting something that is what we think close to polished and done, and looking for just minor changes when we haven't actually involved them in the these are the actual things that we're going to be doing.
There's probably a reason for that, because I can see the logic that you're working with. I think that the thing that would make sense as to why they would not want them in there, and this is what I kind of liked about that, is that the mangaka might not have the capacity to look at the big picture from a stage play thing there, and it's hey, you're talking about story and minor character emotions here. We're just talking about what we can actually make with a stage-around play set here. Like you don't even know what that means.
Maybe the reason,
and we can't waste our time to communicate that with you.
And maybe the reason why they don't do that is because the time to communicate or if the person is not, if the original creator is not necessarily the most humble of individuals, then they might not be able to understand that there are things that they don't know. And so then if somebody comes in and basically is like, okay, let me educate you, they might not respond well to that. And so maybe it's once we get them into a contractual situation, then it's here's the best we've got. If you have tweaks, feel free to make them and we'll try to make them.
Right.
But so this thing's happening.
No contract was done until they basically were like, okay, we're good with this.
No, I imagine the contract is absolutely done before then.
Well,
because they're spending so much money on doing this, they'd need to get the okay from the mangaka before then.
So what little I know about this kind of production and non-theater related stuff there is that you don't get money before the script.
No, totally. But not really.
No, I would think you
totally would.
No, because you have to pitch it to the investors, basically. You have to come with something that basically is here's what we'd like to do. So
don't want to turn the entire discussion into this because this is on a, our own limited knowledge and all that stuff. But the number of times that like there are, productions where it's Red Rising got signed for a film adaptation or something like that. We've never seen that, right? That hasn't been a thing that's happened. Who knows? Maybe it's been shelved forever, right?
I don't.
But that was a thing where it was actually like the deal was made to be able to do that.
To use that as an example, I don't believe there was. From what I know, because I know about that, but I don't believe there was ever a full confirmation that the adaptation was being like signed on to happening. Just that some people were trying to make it happen in the background.
Well, no, right. But the as far as the original creator is concerned, right? They're the big linchpin where if they say no, the whole thing stops. So basically, get their permission from the get-go. If we want to do this thing, you'll be involved in these different ways, and then. Once we have that, then we start to see if we can actually make the production work. And, maybe the rocket doesn't get through some of the stages because it's we do a lot of script writing or planning or whatever, but then there's other aspects, that make it so that it doesn't work. And so we just stop,
Right. And I'm saying that this is different from that because there's clearly money that had to be like gathered before we end up like even.
No, right. But I think it's something where there would probably have already been some money given to the original creator in order to get them to this place, because it's we're in early production. We're still going to absolutely be spending money on just the people working on this and various other things. But
Possibly.
All right, we're ready to go. Now start lighting money on fire.
Okay, so let's go into the episode now. So this episode kind of gave us a look at the way that the characters responded to this, but it was mostly an introduction to the mangaka. And given that they're younger, given that this is probably their first hit, I'd say it's almost definitely that. They even describe the characters as their babies, which is something that we talked about. So this feels very apropos that we're getting into this side of things where a creator, when you write characters and you write for them a lot, you will end up identifying with your characters to the point where they are effectively your babies here. And I love that the story is letting this be the focus of the conflict, because we can look at the mangaka and go, oh, you're being like ridiculously immature. You're being like very, very like, antagonistic here. And you're
not seeking to solve a problem, or like there's so much of it that's basically like venting frustration.
Yes.
Rather than trying to fix the problem.
And yet I think this is actually a very important bit of opportunity for us as fans to look at all the times that we've needlessly shat on a thing for not adapting exactly the way that we want, and just go and look a little bit and go, hey, you see this manga, this could be you. This could be you, basically.
Oh yeah, the whole bit of the
and yet you didn't write these characters.
Right.
And you didn't make these characters.
The script
You're
writer,
not involved in the production. You don't know what's going on in the background. And yet you go, this person has no space as a creator. They should go die, and it's like...
I loved the way that we got...
Getting called out.
Like, we got the mangaka's perspective of the pointlessness of the telephone thing, and then we get the scriptwriter after that, where he's like going through all the different like potential outcomes, right? There's the the production higher-ups just don't like you or whatever, you don't properly communicate their vision. That's one way to get the axe. There are many possible replacements, so getting the axe is like the difference between original creator versus scriptwriter, so different, right?
So different.
But then if the fans don't like it, if it's boring or whatever, the fans will,
attack the scriptwriter
as if you committed a war crime, right?
But if it's great,
then they just praise the mangaka.
Yeah,
right, the original work. And so it's like, like your best case scenario, absolutely thankless. That is brutal. And
I feel like that's part of why this arc is happening in Oshi no Ko, is that it's hey, fans of anime and manga, y'all don't know shit about the production of the way this stuff works. We're using a stage play here, so you can have that little bit of separation, but it's based off of an anime. Just know there's people that you're not appreciating at all.
Nope. And that's where...
And you probably still won't after this is done here,
totally,
but at least you'll know about them now.
Yep. And that's one of the reasons why this is like, slight tangent, but I'm really glad that we have the mangaka from the Suite Today here, and them having a previous dynamic.
To show a contrast to something where they did have that problem.
Yeah, they did have that problem, right? And so they will absolutely understand where the person's coming from. And yet, ideally, probably not necessarily going to happen, because let's be real, the conflict of this arc is not about the mangaka for Tokyo Blade having some character growth, right? It's more about showing the production of everything. But theoretically, they could be like, hey, so totally get it. I, went through a similar thing. Here's some things maybe to be aware of, right? Like to get maybe the mangaka to the point where they could actually have a civilized conversation with the scriptwriter and be like, you're right, I was being difficult. I want this thing to go well. I know that you do too, and you have a thankless job and all that stuff. There are things that I cannot stand about this. Let's talk shop,
Right.
But
so you see the fun connection too that Aqua has with the mangaka? That Aqua is on a vengeance thing to find the one that killed his baby, basically.
Right, and it doesn't matter who gets hurt along the way, right? Like collateral damage, what?
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah,
I don't care.
Oh no, that's really cool. I like that.
So just the idea that we might have a fun look of somebody who has in some ways a less reasonable kind of motivation than Aqua's, because Aqua's is someone actually died. Like someone actually,
there was a murder.
Someone with malevolence came in and murdered somebody.
Who's also probably the same person who murdered me. Like, even though that's not the main driving factor, that also is there on top
I mean,
of it,
that makes it more intense. But the idea that this mangaka has a lot of ways in which this can be redeemed. As a situation, this can be solved. This can be fixed. But for Aqua, it can't.
Right.
Like it's not getting any better. It's just whether or not he's going to be able to live on free from that as Aqua, and not just having to live in the past.
Yeah, and maybe there's something also. Maybe this is where it breaks down. I don't know, but. The situation with the mangaka was a very kind of avoidable situation, right? Because of the telephone and things like that.
There's a lot of little moving pieces, but little moving pieces, definitely avoidable.
But to the point where now the mangaka is seeing these people as being like, kind of malicious towards her story,
You're
right?
Evil enemies of
right, exactly. At best it's, egregious incompetence kind of a thing, right? And in Aqua's situation, the fact that I ended up getting killed, right? Yes, it was a murder, right? There is a specific person that killed her, right? But the idea that he's thinking, oh, there's this other person who, like, it's a conspiracy type thing, or or something.
Well,
like
he's just investigating. He hasn't gotten to the realm of claiming it as a conspiracy.
Or conspiracy is too big of a word, but or too big of a situation. But there was another person who definitely helped them out, and for the purpose of them getting killed, as opposed to potentially, oh, hey, some weird thing happened behind the scenes that you're not aware of, right?
Sure.
And as a result of that, this happened.
So
you could get to the point where you're in your revenge spree,
and you find out it's just a lot of moving parts.
It's just a lot of moving parts.
It's a very avoidable
situation. Right, and there's no actual, culprit, evil villain that you can be like, haha, I'm going to, get my vengeance on you.
Right, and thus it's then what the story is always been about, is basically the darker web of things being all kind of twisted in the entertainment industry. And I basically lost her life because of that.
Right.
And so the entertainment industry doesn't care that I died. The entertainment industry doesn't have empathy. It's not a person. It doesn't have feelings or anything like that.
The machine keeps turning.
Right. So you're going to see other parts and pieces of the entertainment industry using the same philosophy, in that it chews and spits out people like the scriptwriter here, who genuinely do have the spirit of a creative. But because of the whims and desires of people that are a little bit further ahead in the entertainment industry as far as pecking order, they can peck down and go, I kill your dream, I kill your desire right now with my bare hands. I come into your home and I stab your loved one, basically.
Right. I also love the fact that they brought up that this mangaka is a fast success. like they're 22, but they already have this, hit series that's like wrapped up and things like that.
50 million copies in circulation.
Yeah, exactly. And they're interacting with the person that they used to be the assistant for, who's over a decade older than them, right?
Yeah.
And that is something where I absolutely see where basically the person who has for so long been the plucky underdog that's like, I have a dream, I want to do this thing, they aren't maybe able to comprehend the notion of restraint once they are actually in a position of power, because that's not what they're used to, right?
Right.
And so it's no, this is how things need to be.
So this is good practice for them. But yeah, they're also just, blundering about.
Blam, blam, blam. Anyway, I started blasting.
Catching strays,
Yeah, exactly.
I also think 50 million copies in circulation and an assistant feels like oddly like close to probably something that's happened very much in real life. I don't remember which big recent manga had a situation like this. It might have been Chainsaw Man or Jujutsu Kaisen or something like that. But basically an assistant of someone really big basically ended up getting something really quickly popular. And I think it was something like one of those two. And just immediately got like not only the success, just the praise and everything there, and went past their protege, and then quickly got an anime adaptation and everything like that. And I'm trying to remember, because I remember someone telling me about this, and it's that, did you know that this mangaka was the assistant of this one here?
Right.
And ended up taking a lot of like not just inspiration, but like kind of gusto from that thing to then split off and make their own manga.
I would not be surprised at all if Tokyo Blade was like specifically like a parallel to an actual
real life story,
real life manga, like Demon Slayer or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is also kind of the generic orthodox shonen battle.
Right, exactly.
Kind of,
we understand why it's
kind of
popular.
thing. Yeah. It fits all it checks all the boxes and stuff. I also really liked just a little subtle thing here, but if you notice, a lot of people on the production side of things were quick to kind of shut the fuck up when the mangaka started talking.
Oh yeah, like we don't want to catch strays.
We don't want to catch strays, yeah. And I kind of noticed in a weird way, the director who quickly jumped into the conversation to kind of clarify some things with Akane in episode 1 just was like,
not my division.
Not my division. Not my problem. Basically, I could see the like the frustration of like, but also I'm effectively a hire by the company to just run the ship.
I'm not affected by this necessarily, and also I probably have a lot more staying power as far as my
his role is
position.
Very safe.
So unlike the script writer, I've been around. I'm not as easily replaceable, and I've probably been around the block and maybe seen this stuff like this happen before.
They made a point that Kindaichi, I think was his name, Toshiro, the oldest person here by a long shot. I think he was like 56 or something. So definite veteran, but also the actual like leader of the whole theater company as well.
Oh, that's
so
right.
It's also something that felt a little bit odd, given that this could be a financial disaster for their company, and yet he's just kind of like, "Yep, okay." So I'm interested to get to know his character a little bit in the way in which he kind of responds to this, given that he's the one in the crosshairs of Aqua. I could see him and Aqua potentially teaming up. I still want to see them kind of collaborate in some way, which is potentially even more likely now that we have an issue here where we might even need to use. And this is the kind of thing that gives me the Death Note vibe specifically here, is that this is a character that Aqua could theoretically manipulate as well. The
mangaka? Yeah,
and the idea
absolutely.
of using the young kids basically as means by which to right the ship a little bit in a subtle way. And that is right up Aqua's alley.
It's
like,
right
as far
up
as,
Aqua's alley.
Yep.
It involves then the agency of the main characters in the progression of this arc, since the arc is on hold, given that the play is on hold, right?
Yep.
And, using that as a way that Akane can then take him on a date, but then also show us, the audience, a bit more about how like plays work and things like that.
Right, we're equipping him with the tools by which he'll be able to be communication tool to us to bridge the gap, but also potentially one to bridge the gap to the mangaka.
This pause in plot is definitely being used effectively, but I could absolutely see that being something where, then he's a bit more equipped, and then he uses the fact that, like, the mangaka might be a bit more open to something that an actor tells him, right?
Especially given
one
how
that's closer in age.
Well, especially one that also was recently in the spotlight for elevating the source material
of their friend.
Yeah.
No, that's a great point.
So that's something that could give Aqua and also Kana in a lot of ways a lot of influence.
Oh, and if Aqua, if I were in Aqua's position and I was manipulative like him, what I would try and do is save the scriptwriter, so that way he's in debt to me. So that basically, like,
but what influence does he have? What value does he have to his schemes? Nothing really.
Just that he's somebody that, like, saving the scriptwriter maybe would be ancillary, and that would more get the director appreciative because it's you helped save the production overall because we do need that scriptwriter, or it would take the delays if we got a new scriptwriter would cause other issues.
Well, no, let me roll with your thing here. What if it's not that he needs to save him, but it's that he plays telephone and he makes the mangaka think that the scriptwriter's ideas are their ideas, are her ideas.
Oh, nice. Okay,
So it's the thing of being like, I'll communicate things in a way that'll feed the ego of the mangaka.
Because the scriptwriter is too much of a villain in the mangaka's eyes because of how things have gone. That they wouldn't take what they would not like. Pulling the mangaka away from the room is the right call because they would not be able to have a civil conversation at this point. Yeah, they might have been able to before, and maybe there would be that tension and danger of it going uncivil and getting very heated.
Yeah, because to play devil's advocate here, it's really frustrating. I'd say one of the most frustrating things about being a creative in or even just someone that's passionate is the feeling of being ignored.
Sure.
And from the feeling standpoint, Abiko?
Yes.
Abiko, yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
It was absolutely being ignored.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Like, that's extremely frustrating.
No, coming in here with the frustration and the heat and everything absolutely makes sense. And the fact that they were able to demonstrate the level of sort of composure of like, hey, actually giving it like a legit, well, maybe not necessarily a full legit shot because they were already thinking it was going to be shit, but like, okay, I'll see what they have. They say that it's going to be good when I actually see it. All right, let's see what's there,
Yeah, that was actually a weird part. It didn't seem like they really watched a rehearsal. It was more like, oh, they're going to be here, and then maybe we time skipped through it.
I imagine they probably time skipped through it because they also said there's 20 days left in rehearsrsal. So
oh, yeah, so we've been through a couple more days since then. So we are actually at the 2/3 left side of production.
And that's where
it's way worse than the, we have 25 days left.
Yeah. Exactly. But
yeah, the characters in the middle doing their best here. I loved our guy with the fingerless gloves with the black and white hair and stuff, just being like, I am the personal, like, communications, like, primary guy here. I'm just trying to make sure everybody's happy. I'm trying to make the editor happy. I'm trying to make the manga happy. I'm trying to make the scriptwriter happy. I will feed you everything. I'm so sorry that this happened.
I wanted to praise that guy because I believe he was set up as this is the guy actually in charge of the whole project. He's not the director or anything, but like this is his project. So
right, he's the producer.
Right. So the fact that he's being so like, hey, not just being like, okay, you guys do your thing, take care of it. Like he's actually boots on the ground, like interacting with these people and trying to smooth things over.
Right, and that's a part that I'd love to go in and look at the actual stuff with the communications here with regards to the game of telephone. With the producer and the director, right?
So he's the producer.
He's the producer. So producers, very wildly, in terms of how much involvement they have, and as far as the look of being a part of the professional industry of all the people here, he kind of stands out as being he's not a part of the industry. He doesn't seem like a pro.
Oh, no, yeah.
So producers can sometimes just be the one that's literally funding the project.
Right.
They just signed their name and signed a check and were like, here, make this happen.
He's the eccentric rich person that's like, hey, I love this arc. Let's make it a stage play. Let's go.
Right.
You know,
and he might have been involved in other productions or what have you, but the way in which he's so involved and so amiable and trying to do his best here, he feels like if anything, his flaw is that he's trying to make everybody happy. You know? Like,
one of the ways I heard it described was that when you're talking about like not quite like lead producer, but like you know that step below it, is this just a person who had some connection or whatever, and so they get to be a producer on this thing, or are they somebody that I need to make happy, otherwise I could lose my job? You know, right? Like, you know, and it can vary crazily within that like you know sphere of things, and so the idea that he's like. He really is like he has that understanding that I am not the person who can actually make this thing, you know?
Right. His comment that he made in the telephone bit was with this project, it seems the manga author's team doesn't know the first thing about plays, meaning that he's put on and produced a number of plays before this. So it's the thing of, my issue is that they don't know, and I've made the judgment call that they don't know how these plays work.
Right.
So I've also been the one to make the judgment call of this feedback right here, ignore it. Basically, do what you can.
You still need to make a play.
Because you still need to make a play. Right. And so that also kind of gives them also the villain potential role from the mangaka's perspective. Is that they're the one that basically is
yeah, and
right
the
there
editor is
alongside
just
the director,
just
you know,
dead in their seat.
Well, that's the other thing is that the editor is a part of the company that the mangaka is a part
it's the
of.
mangaka's editor. Yeah,
right. But mangakas are signed on to publishing companies.
Right.
So meaning that the mangaka actually is not paying any money for breaching the contract because it was a contract between companies.
Right.
So
although
the company
apparently they were okay if they did have to do that because they made a lot of money off of their manga.
Well, that's the thing here. That I would love to see the publishing company or the whatever the company is that's tied to this here coming in and being like, okay, mangaka, you are our baby in terms of making us a ton of money.
I'm your
here,
golden goose,
But like, we will make tons more money if you let this play go through.
No, but the mangaka does not care about the money.
I know. I
love that.
I would love to see that conversation brought up from their standpoint too.
Yeah.
But yeah, letting us just see the sufferings of a scriptwriter who effectively is told like,
eat shit and die.
Well, not only that, but like, ChatGPT could write a better script than you could, basically.
Right. Well, and what I love about this
as a creative, and it's like,
and what I'm hoping we get from this, given that he asked specifically for his credits to be removed, is that and he wouldn't say this, but it's let's see you do a better job,
right?
Like let's actually see it because you do manga in a weekly serial and all that stuff, very different from a stage play, Hey, if it's something that you end up being happy with because you felt it was true to your characters, cool. But if it ends up being something where people are like, oh, that was kind of...
Yeah, and all it would take in this world, like our world and this world, because we know social media is a thing here, is that if it starts to look bad, basically, then the scriptwriter just says, I was unduly fired by this, rational child, and maybe...
Oh, they would never get hired again if they did that. But,
there's ways you could have it leaked.
Sure. Yes.
You wouldn't have to have them be the one to post it, but just the idea that like the story gets out.
Right. Well, because I mean, think about it another way.
And it kills the mangaka's reputation.
No. You phrase it as a this is why this play's going to be great. Did you hear? The creator is actually going to be coming in to oversee the script themselves.
Wow.
In fact,
amazing.
You could even have it as a thing of. Now, granted, they're probably not going to do this because they're keeping credits. They don't want to change the posters and all that stuff. But, they're doing the whole thing,
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel. So yeah, if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.